welcome to this interview with my fabulous friends, Alex and Cheyenne. They are the owners of Litty Co, and we're going to talk to them today about what they've been doing during quarantine, what's up their sleeve for the rest of 2020, and a little bit about themselves and their brand. So, hi, guys.
Hey, Katie.
Hi, all the way from Boston to Cali.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast, sending virtual hugs till I can see you again.
Hugs and kisses.
Exactly.
So excellent. So tell us about Litty Co and what it's about and what you're doing and all that fun stuff that we need to know about your brand.
Yeah. So just to hit it off, I suppose. So we're Litty Co. And
Thank you for wearing your own shirt, by the way.
We're
actually both.
Shirts, plural, shirts, yes.
I was going to wear gray and match him, but then I was like, maybe not.
A little too cliche.
Wear whatever you want. I'm like, wear pajamas on this thing, wear a prom dress. I'm like, do it.
It's okay.
Right.
We didn't want to blend in the background. So
Exactly. You have to stand out, Cheyenne. So I'm glad that you wore something different.
Well, Litty Co. So basically, he's a former pro basketball player, and I'm a former collegiate player. We went over to China, and we got to work with youth. And prior to that, we had dreams of kind of wanting our own facility to work with youth, combine it with fitness and sports together. And going to China was kind of the starting point of that. That way we're more hands-on with the kids and really kind of get the gist of what it is. And as we started creating Litty Co, it started blooming into kind of what it is now, especially after coming home. We got connected with all the local teams as far as basketball goes and even fitness. We started combining it, and now we're working with them and collabing and kind of doing workouts. So we kind of want to bring back what we grew up with. You could say the generation now is a little bit different as far as sports goes versus what we grew up with. We grew up with a very strict, gritty type of training. It's like if you're not in the gym to, get down and dirty and get there and do what you need to do, then get out of the gym.
So, and that's legit. If you want to succeed, you kind of have to have that mentality to do it. Otherwise, if you're just there for the participation trophy, you're not going to succeed. You really have to get down and dirty. I've seen both of you play personally. So it's nice to see the dynamic of what you've grown up with and the foundation that you had growing up and what you plan on training the youth when, you're able to facilitate, coach, do whatever, have your own facility to have kids in there, but still we're stuck in the house right now. So Litty Co, what does it mean? What is the inspiration mean?
Really, it's kind of a blend of multiple different things. It's something that we tried to tailor towards the generation that's coming up, a little bit more catchy, something that you hear on the street, more of the slang of Litty or lit, and kind of running along with that. But also it's almost like a tip of the hat to where we come from, because the shaka, which is the hand gesture, is something that's huge here in California. So that supersedes any generational boundaries, from an 80-year-old on the beach to some skateboarders or basketball players that are on the court just messing around. So that was something that we kind of wanted to implement, just again to kind of give back to the community that brought us up and tie in that family idea.
That's amazing. Well, both of you are super family oriented. So when we talk about foundation and structure and all of that, that's a huge inspiration. So Cheyenne, you mentioned that you both went to China and you were teaching youth over there. But what kind of got, and either one of you can answer this, but what got you started on Litty Co? Like, what was the inspiration? What was that epiphany that you're like, I need to start this brand and I need to move in this direction? Did somebody or something influence that for you?
I think it's just sort of, me personally, kind of like where I started with basketball. Growing up, I was also a coach in high school. So I coached a lot of middle school through high school girls when I was a senior. So that was something I kind of was connecting with, especially with like girls youth and girls basketball. Going to China and being able to be surrounded with, even a foreign culture and how different things are there. Complete 360, completely different.
100% different culture, food,
Yeah.
people, everything. Yes.
That really kind of wanted to push me to do something a little bit different. I've never stepped out of my boundary, nonetheless gone to a different country. So he's really pushed me out there to do things like that. And the brand kind of, started with clothing, kind of a symbol at first. And then, as we gotten more hands-on with the kids and doing that, it kind of started blending together as it made more sense. And we kind of wanted this unity as a brand itself and gear it towards athletics. And
that's awesome. And we have to tell everybody a little bit about the backstory, because you guys actually met at basketball camp, if I'm correct, right? So the love and basketball theme is super alive with the both of you. So, I mean, just your experience, like you were talking about teaching the youth, you guys met as youths and doing basketball camp and being gritty and learning aside one another. So I think having that background and that passion really is going to bring you to where you want to be in life and with your company, which is super exciting. Alex, do you have any different inspirations than Cheyenne in terms of what helped you get the company blossoming to where it is today?
I don't think it's really much of a different story, more so just kind of going along and seeing the difference within culture, but also, again, with generational boundaries, where you see sports being completely different in coaching. So a lot of the coaches and trainers that we saw, both in China and here, have a completely different philosophy in what you want to teach the kid, and how that, goes into how they live their life in the future, how they deal with adversity. And that's something, again, we wanted to reinstill and give that ability to learn from the hard nose, deal with it, fight through any like opposition kind of thing. So that was just like a big push mark where it was like, okay, well, we're seeing all these, softer to say, coaches or trainers, where the kid doesn't learn that you really have to put in hard work, and they feel almost like they deserve something that they haven't earned yet. So we really wanted to bring that back and be the spearhead to that if it needs to be. Luckily enough, our trainer that we did meet with and that we actually met through, he's out of Huntington Beach, and he's still going. And he, we sat down with us when we first came back to visit, and he said, like, hey, the kids are not the same. I can't be the same with them, or else I'm not going to be in business. So we, took it upon ourselves and said, like, hey, all right, well, we have no problem being those people. And you can still be how he is. And then just really trying to bring that back again.
That's amazing. So with the difference, not only with the generational changes, but being in China, like what have you noticed in terms of the way that they're coached and taught how to play basketball in general? You did say the softer approach. Is that the norm in China for the way that they're taught? Like, what did you notice that was the biggest difference between the way that Americans are taught versus Chinese people are taught to play sports?
Man, that's a tough question, because in China, I feel like compared to the type of basketball we grew up with, or even what we see now, everyone plays basketball in China. Basketball is everything. You can't just go to a park and shoot. You have to pay to get in, or just on the court to shoot if you want to be there.
Really? Okay.
Basketball, everything. I feel like they're lacking in, it's a tough question, because I feel like they idolize foreigners. So they hire foreigners. Like, that's the thing. We have a lot of experience. It's a good thing to, hire, ex-pro players, or, current pro players, or ex-collegiate players. But I feel like it's all money out there. So I feel like a lot of people take advantage of the Chinese, to be honest. I don't know. It's so different. And then
I know. Well, it's the whole dynamic of it is different. But like you talk about the idolization of foreigners, like, and I was just talking to somebody about this the other day, but I was cracking up because when I went to Disneyland in Hong Kong, I had an older couple come up and they were like, "Oh, cute little blonde girl. She's definitely American. Let's take our picture with her." So I'm in this old couple's camera roll somewhere in this world right now. And, you know, it's just so funny how they see foreigners in a different landscape than how we see them. I mean, obviously, being in California, being in Boston, you both used to live in Boston, you see the diversity that we do have here in the United States. So over there, unless you're in a larger city that does have more of a foreign population, it is really Chinese culture through and through in different villages, provinces, all of that. So I definitely bet that you had a lot of attention on you just looking the way that you do, a cute little petite blonde girl and this tall, skinny, handsome man with this like forever growing hair up. You know? I know, and no beard anymore, no beard.
Oh,
so.
I cut it all off.
I know that you're doing the opposite where everybody's growing the beard for quarantine. You're like, I'm getting rid of it for quarantine.
Trendsetters, we do the opposite.
Yes, no, absolutely. You're going to start a new trend for the rest of 2020 because maybe one day we'll be able to leave our homes and everybody would be like, I like what that kid's doing. I'm going to do that now. Clean faces are back.
Right.
So now that you're back on US soil and you're working on your brand over here now, like what is the goal that you want to achieve with Litty Co? Excuse me, I'm choking on my own spit because I'm so excited.
It's so humid out there.
Yeah.
You come back to California.
Yeah, I know, right? No. Okay, so but now the fact that you are back in California, what do you want to do with your brand? So you talked about having your own facility. Do you want to keep it West Coast based? Do you want to be all over? Are you going to be traveling? Like what is the intention of what you want to get out of your brand?
Yeah, so right now we are basing everything out of Southern California just because we do have, you know, the right places in terms of gaining clients and getting to the kids as best as we can. We do have a studio that should be opening up, specifically a Litty Co studio.
Okay.
So that'll be ours in Huntington. That should open up in the next few weeks, but our main goal is to reach as many people as possible. Seeing the different cultures, like she was saying, the different ways that they treat athletes or how they view their teaching ability in other countries. And I've seen a few other places during my travels. I think the biggest thing is being able to reach them. So hopefully growing Litty to the point where we are able to expand our reach coast to coast in the US, but also internationally in being able to teach people and hopefully getting more people on our staff to understand how we teach and then being able to teach through them and expanding our reach that way as well.
And I think as you're speaking, you know, when you talk about younger kids and now we're in such a deep social media era, just by posting on Instagram or on Twitter or wherever, I feel like you are going to be able to gain such a larger audience than to be promoting through schools or posting a flyer or doing all of these things. You have the world at your fingertips right now, which is such an incredible thing. So being able, especially if you're able to open and, you know, we were just talking right before this, but parks still being closed and all of that. Once it's safe to go out and do physical activities and all of that, these kids have been so housebound. They're going to want to have that structure, that guidance, that one-on-one teaching where they're doing a lot of online courses right now. And it's not the same. So I feel like this is a great start. And I feel like it's kind of reinventing or even reinvigorating people, having all of this happen. So I think a lot of kids are going to definitely be attracted not only to the brand name in itself, your logo that you have, your hand gestures, it's very California, very familial. But I think that you're definitely going to succeed. I mean, obviously I'm your friend, so I want you to succeed. But I think it's just going to be like such a great opportunity. And I think everything lined up with having to leave China because of all of this and, you know, starting new back in California, being close to home with family and all of that, but really getting your 10 toes down, 20 toes down actually. But
20.
Yes, 20, or if we count Coco, that's like 40 right there. Coco, they're very cute dog.
Right.
But we're 40 toes down right now, and you know, just hitting the ground running and getting these kids in. I will say, as you both know, my lovely niece Hayden, but just I agree with you that it's the softer way of approaching things, and everybody has to have a gentle pat on their back and all of that stuff. And she's played soccer, she's done gymnastics, all of that stuff, but there's nothing that's ever really stuck for her that she feels like she really, and even horseback riding, that she hasn't been trained enough and had enough structure to keep going with it. And I think that that's something, the tools that you guys have just as human beings and people that I love, but as coaches, that you are going to instill in these kids. So I can't wait to see what's happening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And can you also open up a facility in Boston so you guys can be bi-coastal and I can see you more?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things we were looking at. Hopefully in the next, year or two would be nice. But there's, plenty of places in Boston that we would love to do, and living out there for a few years and seeing the same kind of thing with the inner city youth that we would love to reach out to, people that don't have that opportunity. In the city of Boston, there's not too many private training that are athletically geared. But the good part about Boston, and I think we both love it, is that there's a lot more grit out there. People are ready to work out there, and that's something that definitely is appealing to us because that's how we were brought up. So hopefully in the near future we'll be able to do that.
For sure. And you were both collegiate athletes here in Boston, so you have the experience of not only playing in college but in other leagues out here. So you do have that experience of seeing not only what the collegiate talent is, but also seeing just like regular everyday people here and being able to play alongside them or against them. And I will tell you, these people are smooth on the court. All right. They have amazing skills. Alex will just toss a ball with not even looking and, catch somebody else's hand. It's so funny to see how smooth he is with his moves, but you can tell it's pure practice and 24/7. And when we would work out at the same gym, I would see them in the gym working out all the time on the court and then doing cardio right after and back to the court. It's nonstop for you guys. And I hope that you will be able to bring that to these kids and make a huge difference. I know that you will, but I just have to have that huge hope umbrella because I want it to hit so many other kids as well. And that's it. Sorry, my thing.
Ooh, that.
Rude. So rude. Sorry, Zoom's acting up. So with that being said, and I talked a little bit about social media, how can we find you guys? What can we discover about Litty? Where do we find you on social media, or how do we get in touch with you?
So everything is through the social media. Luckily, Cheyenne is a little bit more adept in the social media age than I am. But everything is connected on our Instagram. And from there, the link takes you directly to our page. If you wanted to contact us about one-on-one sessions, setting up a group session with discounts, we are setting up another way to order clothing. While that's not our main focus, we do want to be able to get that brand out there so people can see it versus just hearing about it. So that would be the easiest way to get in contact with us, through our social media at that point.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll be seeing you in a few weeks.
Very soon.
And then I'll give you real hugs that time, not just virtual hugs.
We'll bring our big trash bags to wear so we can actually have physical contact.
Yes. Have you seen those giant shields with the arms that people are doing? I'm totally going to have that ready for you.
We're going to have it on the flight the whole way. We'll disinfect it, and then we'll come give you a hug.
Yeah. I can't wait. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and I will see you soon.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.